Yo, Trev, you know what time it is?
Yes, it's showtime, Jay.
Well, you know what that means.
I believe that means it's time to get this thing rocking and rolling.
Well, let's hit the music and let's get this thing rolling, big fella. Let's go.
Okay, hello and welcome to the Game Plan. Our show is brought to you by Bringing the Heat Media and 4D Leaders. This show is dedicated to using sports to create positive change. So be ready to get inspired, uplifted, and empowered through thought-provoking conversations specific to the world of youth sports with some of the top minds in the game. I'm your co-host, Trevor Rosenthal, MLB All-Star, and former single-season save record holder for the St. Louis Cardinals, with Jason Holzer, co-founder of 4D Leaders and best-selling author. Jason, man, hey, good to see you. Always excited to see you and to have these conversations. How's everything going your way?
Yeah, man. Things are going well. It's funny, New Year's, new resolutions, right? You think of habits, you think of routines, and I've been in a really big reflection on what are the things that I'm doing well, but what are the things that I could be doing better at? And so one of the things I want to do better at is, if I put something on my calendar, I stick with it all the way to the very end. If I say I'm going to do this for 30 minutes, I'm going to do it all the way through. But then I'm also going to maybe pause and then put that on. So that way I stay on task, So that's kind of my key is how can I get a little bit better about staying on task, staying present, and just being really focused on what Clint Hurdle's always said a lot is be where your feet are, right? I know we talked about that last time with Coach Travis Thomas, but what about yourself, Trev?
Yeah, I know you have a newsletter coming out soon and highlighting the importance of routines. So I'm excited to see that one. But as I reflect on routines, it's made me, same as you, kind of dial back in and optimize my routine, making sure that I'm intentional about the habits that I'm creating and that they're leading to the results that I desire. Along those lines of investigation, I came across this kind of powerful message on the difference between being brave and being courageous. And I hadn't really thought about it before, but it gave me, the person that I heard it from put it in a good context. Or being brave might just be in a particular moment. It could be, you could think about it as a bravado, or in other words, throwing caution to the wind and just jumping into a situation without considering the repercussions. And that can be dangerous, right? We might not necessarily want to be brave. I think it's better to think of ourselves as being courageous. And when I think about being courageous, that means that I have a plan, I have a mission that I'm on, and I have a continual focus on this mission that I'm trying to accomplish, and my actions are always pushing towards that mission. And that might mean that I have to forego a battle or have to forego an opportunity in the short term to focus on the long-term goal. So I don't know. I just, that was kind of on my mind and I wanted to share that. But, I think it goes hand in hand, like you said, this New Year's and new opportunities and how we're thinking about those.
Well, I think what I like about that is that, with courage is I have things that come up to my mind oh man, I'm kind of nervous about that, or I feel a little bit scared about that, but I also feel excited. And that's kind of when I'm well, when you feel those two emotions at the same time, that's kind of a step that you're going the right direction. If it's slightly out of your comfort zone, but there's something good that's going to happen out of it, or you feel like it's going to help other people, I almost feel like you do yourself a disservice by not going for it and not having that courage to do it. So, but yeah, man, I'm excited about our guest today. We got a big city on the show.
Whoa, wait. We can't pass up. We got big news before. I'm excited as well as our guest.
No, touche. Yeah, you're right. Okay, go ahead.
Hit
him with the news.
Second. Yeah, this is incredible. So, to start, we have I'll say the news first. So we have partnered with Rawlings Sporting Goods.
What?
Yeah, right. I mean, this is huge. We're gonna end up giving away one custom glove to a follower each month for the year of 2025. So this is a $500 value each month. This is gonna be $6,000 worth of merchandise that we're gonna be giving away on the show. And so I'm super excited about that. Jason, how can people enter into this contest and win a glove?
Well, it's the 12 gloves of 25, so 12 and 25, right? And then all you got to do is put a 5-star review on the show and then subscribe to our newsletter, and that automatically puts you in as a drawing. So you get 12 chances to possibly win a glove that you can create on your own, make it however you like. And That's a really exciting thing. It's Cardinals always talk about 12 and 25 or 12 and 24 as their next World Series. Well, we got a new kind of 12 that we're going to set up here. It's a 12 gloves of 25, and I'm looking forward to seeing the smiles on the winners' faces, and even seeing I feel like they got to take a picture of it and post it too. I want to see these gloves that people create too, the kind of the creativity behind it.
100%. This is Christmas is going to be all year this year. And to kick it off, so we did a contest last year on our Instagram handle with 40 athletes and with bringing the Heat media. And so we actually have a glove to give away, a winner. And I want to go ahead and shout out and select our winner for this glove. So it's really 13, but Natalie in KC is the handle. I got it pulled up here. I don't know if we can see this, but we're going to send Natalie, we're going to send her a link. I'm going to send her a message as soon as we get off here recording today. And she's going to get a glove to customize. And so, yeah, we're going to highlight that. And I agree with you. I think would be great, even better if our winners could display their creativity and show us, because Jason, we visited Rawlings and we went through their whole glove selection process, and you can pretty much do anything you want. So it was
cool. Definitely, yeah. My sons and my nephew created some pretty crazy gloves while they were there. It was definitely a fun experience for sure, man. So thank you for reminding me about that. I can't believe I almost forgot the biggest news that we've had so far this year. It's already January, man. So I can't wait for more big news the rest of this.
Well, we got some big news right now.
We got some big city news. That's what we got. So. Well, Matt Adams is joined on the show, aka Big City. Excited to have him on today. He's quite the slugger in the house, so we thought we would bring in the big slugger for 2025. He's known for his powerful hitting and clutch performances, but more than that, man, he's a passionate advocate for mentorship, coaching, giving back to the next generation of athletes. So we're excited to have Big City on the show. Matt, thanks for joining us. Welcome to the show, man. How are things going? Congrats on the new possible job that you got, too, by the way.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Happy to be on the show. And, just looking forward to, heading down to spring training in Arizona with the Padres. I'm going to be their AAA bench coach in El Paso for the 2025 season. So really looking forward to, hitting the ground running. First coaching gig. Get to learn from one of the best managers in the game with Mike Schilt, who was my first pro ball manager. With the St. Louis Cardinals. So really, really excited for this opportunity, and just looking forward to, getting the ball rolling.
Yeah, Matt.
When did you play? Was that minor league ball you had him as a manager? Or when did you first?
Yeah, when I first got drafted in 2009, I went to Johnson City, Tennessee, and Schilt was my manager there, and then just kind of moved my way up through the organization. Had Pop Warner for 2 years in Double A and Triple A, who's the third base coach for the Cardinals right now. So got a lot of good guys, that kind of taught me the way, early on in my professional career, and then getting to play alongside guys like Trevor and, the teams that we had in St. Louis with the older guys, just showing us how to be a true professional, really, really, carry those traits and characteristics with me, where I think it's going to help me on the coaching side as well.
Yeah, that's huge, Matt. I had Mike Schilt as well in the minor leagues, and I agree with you. He was a great guy to play for. But you were in Johnson City in 2009. I was there in 2010, and I was kind of, Jason, if you don't notice, I always followed Matt through the minor leagues. I was always a year behind him. So what that means is the team that I was on, he was on that team the year before. And let me tell you, Matt left legendary stories, because every ballpark that we would go to, we would travel to, the first thing that we would talk about during batting practice is, oh yeah, Matt Adams hit a ball up there on that hill or over that house, and he hit it there last year, and it was like the legend of Matt Adams. And also, I just have to say, one of the coolest nicknames in all of baseball, Big City. I'm pretty jealous of that, so that's cool. But yeah, Matt, thanks for joining us today. I'm excited for this conversation. We try and talk a little bit and give just good insight to parents and coaches and young athletes in regards to youth sports, and hearing from guys like you that have been through the professional ranks, played at the highest level, had incredible success at the highest level, and also had challenges at the highest level. And now, as you're moving into a new venture, huge congratulations on that. That really speaks volumes to your character, and for an organization to bring you in the role that you're going to be in this year in San Diego. But I'm interested to know, what are maybe a coach or mentor that had a significant impact on your career, and what made that so special?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say it again. You know, Schilt was kind of, you know, the guy that kind of, you know, when I first got into professional baseball, I really didn't know how it was gonna work, what it was gonna look like. And when I first showed up to Johnson City, you know, Schilt, we had a clubhouse meeting and just kind of went over like what he expects from us young men and, you know, what he wanted to get out of us throughout the season. And it, you know, good communication first and foremost. He's a strong communicator. Really, you know, looks you in the eyes when he's having a conversation with you. Carries himself with confidence and just knows how to motivate. Knows how to get guys moving in the right direction. And really just, you know, makes you feel like, you know, you can really like him. You can really get behind him, get behind his coaching philosophy. And, you know, he's by far the one guy that really, you know, showed me what it was like to go about my business as a professional on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, just to kind of like reiterate, I mean, I think coaches can maybe overlook the impact that has on their players, right? Just looking at them in the eye, showing them the respect, being a clear communicator, certainly, and outlining expectations. But I mean, I agree. I mean, we've all been players before, and you know, having that feeling of like I want to through a wall for this guy, and that's kind of what I'm hearing Matt say. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry for interrupting.
well, yeah, no, I was just saying, like, you know, you've had a lot of great moments in your career. You've had a great, successful career. You know, I still show my 5 and 8 year old the 2014 home run over Kershaw. I'm like, this is one of the best home runs ever, by the way. And you won a World Series, right? You know, but how have those experiences shaped your perspective on the importance of mentorship, guiding young athletes? Because we always see the highlights, right? We always see the moments where, like, you know, you succeeded, and that can give off a perception of like they got it all figured out, they don't have any struggles. You know, how have you been able to use mentorship and guidance as a way to help people through maybe their toughest times or some of their struggles to help them get to those highlight moments, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think for me, it's not being afraid. You know, you see a teammate, you see a colleague, you know, kind of down, have had a rough game, whatnot. I think the importance of going over there and just kind of putting your arm around them, letting them know that, you know, hey, you're thinking about them, everything's going to be all right. You know, tomorrow's a new day. Just, you know, kind of using those like words of affirmation to let them know that, hey, you're thinking about them, but also we believe in you. And I think, you know, a good coach, a good manager, a good veteran teammate, doesn't even have to be a veteran teammate, but like a good teammate, those are the characteristics that those guys are going to, you know, show daily, making sure that, you know, they get the most out of their guys, teammates, players, just being able to, you know, throw your arm around them and let them know that, hey, I've been there before. I know what you're kind of going through, but everything's going to be all right. Keep, you know, keeping your head down, keep busting your butt, showing up each day. Things are going to get better. So just, you know, good communication like that, it goes a long way.
Trev, I do have a quick follow-up question. You know, as a coach, what did you see from your coaches that they helped to not only take the time to get you to know you as a person and not just a player, and how did that help you want to play for them even more, knowing that you were cared about more than just what you did on the field?
Yeah, I think it goes, you know, touches on that, you know, the personalization of it. You know, they're not just showing up, collecting a paycheck, saying they're a coach for this team. They care about each and every one of their players. They know that each player is different, comes from a different background, has different philosophies and all that stuff. So being able to, you know, get to know each and every one of those guys on a personal level, it means the world to, you know, us players, and for the coach and for the manager, it's just going to be able to get the most out of each and every one of those guys.
Yeah, I think it's you know, you mentioned like going through the hard times and, you know, getting that feedback of, hey, yeah, just stick with it. You know, everything's going to be okay. It's so hard to hear that sometimes. And I know when I was a young player, especially, and I'm looking at, you know, whether it's a coach or a mentor or a guy that's older than me and he's giving me this message, it's so hard to receive because in the moment it feels like, no, you don't understand. Like you haven't been in my shoes. Like life does not go on. And now like, you know, that I think that's like such a cool thing about life and, you know, being an athlete and especially being a professional athlete. Like we have this window of career, and Matt, you and I are kind of, you know, at the tail end of that and now transitioning out of the game. And we can look back and say, Yeah, everything is going to be okay. Like life does go on. Those failures and those challenges, those were just stepping stones that I, most likely learned more from those than anything and have made us into the people we are today. So I just want to say, be cognizant as a parent or as a coach, like when you're giving this message, like you truly do have to have that relationship built up, like you were talking about, Matt. You can't just tell somebody this or that and expect them to receive it. Like to create that trust and that level to where the athlete can receive it, and knowing, hey, like they might not see things the way you see them. Like they're actually going through a tough time and they think, man, if I messed up today, it's going to be hard for me to sleep. I'm scared to show up tomorrow. Like I'm in a bad spot. Yeah. Kudos to you, Matt, I think, for having that intentionality. And to go along with that, I'm interested. So if professional athletes, especially in baseball, like we're in the off season right now, and every single player that's going to be on a major league team this year is working their butt off right now to prepare. Like you can't be successful at the highest level and not work hard. And I've seen your work ethic, Matt. I've told you, I tell people all the time, like Matt Adams is one of the strongest dudes I've ever been around. Like if you come into the weight room with Matt Adams, you better be prepared to see a show. This guy he's Jason. I mean, that home run that you mentioned, like you don't do that without some extreme power, and this guy has it. So now, Matt, as you are preparing for your first opportunity on the coaching side, I know you're not just sitting around and you're just going to show up and wing it. Like you're doing some preparation right now. Talk to me about this. Like, where's your mind at? Like, how are you thinking? I know it's going to be a continual education. You're going to be under great leadership and Mike Schilt again, and you mentioned guys like Alan Craig that we played with. But yeah, where's your mind at? What are you preparing for? How are you kind of leading up wrapping up these last couple of weeks of the offseason, heading into spring training?
Yeah, I think for me, it's diving in. I've really fallen in love with reading over the last few years, and so it's getting into some really good books. Waiting for the Urban Meyer book to show up. I think it's supposed to be here today or tomorrow. That's one that I'm excited to dive into. It just talks about how he got his teams. Developed championship caliber teams from a lot of different people around the world. So I'm excited to read that one. I read John Wooden's book. Reading all these coaches' books that have done it, have won at the highest level, what characteristics they look for in players to, put together a championship caliber team. Just stuff along those lines, and utilizing my network, reaching out to, managers, coaches that I've had throughout my playing career that have had a lot of impact on me, reaching out to them, talking with them, what to look for, what not to look for, mistakes that they've kind of learned from along their way in their coaching career, just stuff like that to really, like you said, Trevor, just, really keep educating myself. And the biggest thing for me is I've really not had a big ego in the game, but I think as a coach, this goes for any level of coach, little league, high school, college, professional. You got to leave the ego aside. It's not about you. It's about, diving in and helping the players, get the most out of themselves to be the best, not only player that they can be, but the best person that they can be on and off the field. So that's where my mind's at. That's kind of where my passion lies in my coaching career right now. I know it's early on, but really looking forward to get this thing going and see where it can take me.
That's so cool. I knew you were going to have a good answer. And not that you need to really do preparation, because, I mean, Matt, you were always an incredible teammate. You were always an incredible player and such an asset to the organization. And with your experience up to this point, man, like, we were talking about it before we got on the show, but like you obviously had a long career in professional baseball, a long career in the major leagues, and then even played out of the country. You spent last season in Mexico. And so I just can't imagine the amount of value that you're going to bring to these guys and the amount of insight. I hope they truly can appreciate that. You're going to have to tell some stories, man, like boost that ego up a little bit.
100%,
like,
yeah.
You've done some pretty cool things.
Yeah, but I think
yeah, go ahead, Matt.
I think, the last few years of my career, in 2022, when played independent ball in Kansas City, 2023, I was back in AAA for the first time in 10 years. And then, this past season, I was in Mexico, out of the country. So I think that those last 3 years is really whenever I really dove into, whether or not I wanted to, stay in the game and coach. And being, the oldest guy on those teams the last 3 seasons, I kind of got thrown into the veteran leadership kind of role, a mentorship role of those teams, and I fell in love with it. So that's whenever I knew, like, hey, like managing, like, I want to manage. I played at the highest level. Now I want to coach and I want to manage in the big leagues and try to win a championship as a manager. So that's where that passion kind of grew from, and just really looking forward to being able to relate to, what the players are going through on a daily basis. I feel like as players, Trev, we're able to kind of relate, really well to those guys and help them out, whatever they're going through, whatever that may be on a daily basis. So really looking forward to jumping in and hitting the ground running and starting this coaching thing off right.
I agree. I mean, and just to kind of put a bow on all that. I mean, the game is challenging. The game is very difficult at the highest level, and that's why it's hard for guys to stay there for long periods of time. It's really extraordinary when you see a player, have a 10-year plus career. It's more rare, and I think it's becoming more rare because of the analytics and the data, and it's really had a tendency to draw away from the investment into the human being of the player. And I love what you're talking about, the research that you're doing, the books that you're reading from these great coaches. And you mentioned it, like, it all boils down to like that relation. Like, this is a person. I'm invested in them. I'm giving back to them because we both know we've been poured into by other people. And it's just, hey, let's just keep passing that along. And that's going to continue to happen. So no, I think, you mentioned your aspirations of being a major league manager and winning championships. Man, dude, it's going to happen. I'm here for you. It's exciting. Jason and I are going to be, we're going to be remembering this day. This is just the first step.
I appreciate
this is launching
that.
pad, absolutely. Matt, too, as I think about great coaches, I think of coaches that they're humble, like they're confident in what they know. Like they show up, they're not insecure of themselves, but they're also confident that they can learn more. They're just lifelong learners, man. Keep that humility. Like I would say with Trevor, though, like use those stories to build that credibility too, because I think whenever stories just really connect you and they help you relate to people too. So excited for that, man. I want to take you back though. Let's take you back to 10, 11, 12-year-old Matt Adams, as he's you're starting to fall in love with baseball. What were some of the things that your parents did, that your coaches did, that helped you instill a love of playing the game? Because there's so much pressure on kids these days. I saw there was an Instagram post about how there's professionalism in youth sports and it's sucking out the fun of things. So tell me, what were some things that in your childhood experience that helped you love to practice, love to keep playing, that got you to the point that you ended up getting to, and now you're transitioning to being a coach?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I didn't have the luxury of, hopping in on a plane or hopping on a car and driving halfway across the world and doing all these travel ball, things that are all these like money grabbers now with, perfect. I understand perfect game and all that stuff's massively important, but like when I was like 9, 10, 11 years old, like it was, getting 8 of, my buddies together and playing some backyard baseball, having fun with the boys, trying to live out our dreams of, who our favorite players were. My buddy was John Smoltz, Tom Glavine out on the mound trying to strike out Chipper Jones, and Ken Griffey Jr. like standing in the box, like just small things like that kept the fun in it. But we were together, like I think playing multiple sports is massively huge for young kids, because you learn how to, every sport's different. You learn how to practice different. You learn how to compete, differently for those sports. Coaches, football coaches are going to be different than baseball coaches. Basketball coaches are going to be different than, football coaches. So it's having these kids do multiple sports and, diving in. I played 3 sports as a young kid growing up, and, and what my mom and dad did for me was, anytime I wanted to, pick up a glove or a bat and go out in the backyard and play, they never said no. They were always willing to go out there, take time, whether it was 5 minutes or, 30 minutes to an hour. Like they loved going out there and, playing with their son and, seeing the joy and the smile and the happiness that it brought me to be out there with my mom or dad playing the sport, that I love to play. So I think those little moments go like they're massively important for kids' development and also, making sure that they don't get burnt out in one one sport alone. So I think, as parents, keeping an open mind, making sure that you're putting your kids' best interest at heart before your own, and be hard to say no to your kid. If they want to go out in the backyard and play, spend 15, 20 minutes with them out there, teaching them the ropes and creating some scenarios where, they're going to have some fun out there doing it with you and whatnot. So I think those are the things that I would say to, the parents as of now. Obviously that may change once I get some more coaching experience under my belt over these next couple of years, but that's what helped me at a young age to be able to be the person that I am today.
That's awesome. I think that's such a common theme, especially with the, with the players that we've had on. Is I don't think we've had a single player, Jason, say, "Hey, focus on baseball, like get all the reps in, start, repping out the weight room at an early age and focusing on all these little things." Like the common conversation is around play multiple sports, have fun, enjoy it. If you're a parent, hey, take interest in where your kids are interested. Don't push them in a certain direction because that's what you want. So cool to hear about you, Matt. And I just want to let you know you're not alone. This is a common theme. So I think we're onto something, and hopefully that resonates with somebody somewhere, because like Jason mentioned, it's changed a lot. The youth sports landscape is much different today than it was when you and I played. Matt, I think we were maybe lucky in some ways. I'm envious in some other ways, like the
right.
resources and information.
Yeah.
Man, like you can pick up some pretty good habits rather easily nowadays with all the stuff that's out there.
For sure. I think, yeah, like you said, Trev, I think it's a kind of a blessing in disguise when we grew up, because honestly now it's so dang competitive at such a young age. Like knowing who I was and how fragile my mindset was whenever I was younger. I don't necessarily know if I would be the same person today as I am if I would grow up in today's world. But super grateful for all the experiences that my mom and dad sacrificed to be able to allow me to have as a young kid, and trying to help me the most further my baseball career. And obviously that touched wonders, and I was able to go on to play professionally, and they were they right there supporting my and having my back the whole way.
Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, baby.
Yeah, the key that you mentioned a lot was support, right? They didn't try to overwhelm you, or they didn't try to press you. They were just, hey, you're interested? Let's go. Like, hey, you want to play catch? Let's do it. I'll be out there with you. I think that's one thing that I took back, was that they were just unconditional support. I think as a guy that has a 5 and 8-year-old that loves sports myself, as a parent, I learned I have to be the guard and protect them. Not protect is the key word, but filter out what is a ideal opportunity, or is this just too much for them too young, right? So because there's a whole gamut of everything as young as 5 years old that you could have them playing in the club, and they could be training professionally, right, as a 5-year-old. So that's this makes zero sense. Right. And to your point, Trevor, nobody's ever said either that, oh man, it was because I traveled all the way across the country and played 150 games whenever I was 12 years old. That's why I made it to the big leagues, right? That was never something that's ever been said either. Just one of those things I wanted to emphasize of I love that your parents just supported you through the whole thing.
Yeah, and not that those things are bad either. I mean,
yeah.
I've had experience with Perfect Game. I've had experience with some of these other, PBR and big organizations, and it's not all bad. I think these conversations that we're having are to just give the coaches, give the parents just a little bit of a reframing of the mind of, hey, we can travel, we can get on a plane, and we can spend our valuable resources, our hard-earned money on these things to give our kids opportunities. But where is that coming from? What is our perspective? Are we making this a fun memory? Are we just enjoying the love of the game? In my opinion, baseball, the greatest game that we have to play. Are we doing those things, or am I talking to my? Am I reinforcing the negatives? Am I stressing about the bad day? Am I stressing about, hey, we need to get this scholarship, or I'm sacrificing all this. You better hold up your end of the deal, you said, turning into a professional kind of, environment and this works-based relationship. So I just want to reiterate, I mean, not all bad. It's just what kind of lens are we looking through with that?
That's a great point. Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, what's your perspective and the why? Make sure you know the why behind what you're doing, right? And check that for sure.
Well, Matt, it's been a fantastic conversation. Really appreciate you coming on. It's always good to see you. Thanks for sharing your insights on coaching, mentorship. Real quick, I mean, where can our listeners follow you and find you and learn more about what you're doing and maybe, tag along this year as you go into the coaching realm?
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, it's just at Big City for Real. Both handles are the same, so not super big on social media, but really trying to work that way. That way I can, post little clips of, now that I'm a coach and trying to give back to the community of players and whatnot, trying to get a little bit better on social media. But those are my two social media handles, and follow along, and hopefully some of my content can help out.
Will you be at Cardinals winter warm-up this weekend?
I will, yeah. I'm doing the Caravan Friday and Saturday in Jeff City, Hannibal, Missouri, and Columbia. And then I'll be signing at the warm-up. I think I'm at the stadium on Monday morning at Busch Stadium. So definitely look forward to seeing the Cardinal fans and Cardinal Nation, and getting to see a lot of familiar faces that I haven't seen in a long time. So I'm really looking forward to that, and just want to thank you guys again for having me on the show. I love talking about this stuff and trying to help out the next wave of generation and parents and coaches and all that stuff, and just trying to get everybody the most information that they can to to be the best person that they can be. So thanks for giving me the opportunity to join the show and share some insight.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I will see you at the winter warm up. I will be there. So that's going to be fun. We're going to hang out.
Awesome.
Give you a big city hug.
Big hug, yep.
Yeah, and enjoy the Cardinal fan base. And man, you couldn't have said it better. We're gonna have to check in with you at maybe at some point this season, or definitely at the end of this season. But so excited for this path that you're on. It's really cool what you're doing. I know that's not an easy decision. I mean, you've been in baseball your whole life, and to commit to this coaching, I mean, that's a big responsibility. But I think the lives that you're going to impact, and certainly the organizations, it's going to mean a lot. So yeah. Keep it up. Keep up the great work, man. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Trev.
Well, Trev, man, another great show with another great former teammate. They just keep rolling, man. You really did play on a great teams with some great guys. It's one thing to be a team that wins a lot, but then a team that has winning people like off the field says a lot about how special those teams were between 2012 to 2018, for sure, man. So, also be sure to check out Trevor on Instagram and Twitter. Follow him on LinkedIn as well. As with the show, we have more content coming up for youth sports, for parents, coaches, and athletes.
Yes, and be sure to check out the 4D Leaders newsletter. I mean, we mentioned it at the top of the show, but that's how you're going to enter in for a chance to win this glove giveaway. Leave a review, first and foremost, on the podcast. Leave 5-star review, and then follow the 4D Leaders newsletter. Subscribe to the newsletter. Follow Jason on social media as well. We're just striving to have as many resources available for parents, coaches, and athletes. And we got a lot of dynamic content coming your way. We're starting off the year strong with a couple of great guests with Travis and now Matt Adams. So yeah, man, this was a great one. Jason, good to see you as always.
Yeah, likewise, man. That's a wrap for this one. Remember, give that 5 stars, subscribe to the newsletter, get a chance to earn that glove, and thanks for tuning into the Game Plan Show. We will see you next episode.